I do. Because, you see, what now happened was I eventually reached out to Biodun, and I'll tell you how I reached out to him. I slept, and I had a revelation. And in that dream, I saw myself being transported in an elevator. Reverend Oset can confirm this. But being transported in an elevator, and I was transported up to a penthouse. And the elevator opened in front of a door. And I stood in front of that door, and I was transported through the door. The door didn't open, I didn't knock. And on the door and on the bed, I saw Reverend Biodun.
With a female?
With a female. So I said, wow.
Isn't it a throwback to what you had heard? Because this probably was like 4 years after?
It was not a throwback to what I'd heard. It wasn't a throwback at all to what I'd heard. I'm going to tell you what happened and how I knew it couldn't have been a throwback. I saw Reverend Biodun on the bed, and I said, Reverend, Pastor, how can you be doing this? This is wrong. This is wrong. You can't do this. It's wrong. You're a man of God. And he leaned up the bed and he looked at me and he said two things. He said, there is a grace that covers this. And he said, even if you want it, I will take care of you and show you the world. I didn't know the import of those words. When I had that dream, I woke up, said, Biodun. Then I ran to Reverend Oset, because Reverend Oset is my spiritual father. I go to his church. And I said, Reverend, this is the dream I had about Biodun. I didn't even know it was in Abuja. I didn't know about Biodun. I didn't even know Reverend Oset at that point. I didn't even know Reverend Oset was had ordained him into ministry or was his spiritual father. I didn't know all that. And I said to Reverend, this is a dream I had about Biodun Fato Imbo and everything. And the next thing Reverend said shocked me. Could it be that Biodun has not stopped this? That's what Reverend said. So, I now said, what? Then Reverend now went into some things that I would want him to, if he's willing to say himself. Mm-hmm. Anyway, then I said, what do I do? What do I do? Then he said, Biodun is in Abuja. I have his number. I said, I would want to call him. I'd like to call him. So
did you tell Reverend Oset that Busola had spoken to you a few years ago about?
No, I didn't tell Reverend.
But that was in confidence?
Yes, that was in confidence. So I didn't mention that at all, you know. So I now got his phone number and I called Biodun. And I spoke to him and I said, Biodun, this is Pastor Olotu. This is the revelation I had and everything. He said, no, there's nothing like that. Nothing like that, no. He said he had a challenge some years ago. Reverend Oset knew about it, but that was because something, his wife, I don't want to discuss his personal issues and everything, and but all that one has been solved, and he and his wife have fantastic relationship and everything.
So he admitted to having a challenge at some point?
Yes, he did. He admitted to that.
To you?
Yes, to me. And so I said to him, I said, please be careful. You have a great ministry in front of you. Don't allow the devil to pull you down. Just order your steps. In the highest level of decorum and everything. I just advised him as a mother, and he said thank you to me, and I put down the phone. The next day, I now tried to reach him, just to encourage him again. I discovered I couldn't reach him again.
And that's till today?
Till today.
What do you think may be the reason that he's doing that?
I don't know. He's the only one who knows.
So, I mean...
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time of viewing me, I would like you to click on the subscribe button and click on the bell sign so you would be notified anytime I upload a new video. I'm sure you guys already know what you want to watch. Like you already have an hint of what you're watching. So this is my own opinion. As you guys know, I always talk about my own opinion about what I think about the whole situation and all this stuff. There are actually more things I want you guys to see. So just take your time to watch this video. So this is my own opinion. This is what I think about the whole situation. I think this issue between or saga or alleged rape case between Pastor Fatoyinbo Biodun, I hope I pronounced that well, I hope I'm not murdering the name, and Busola Dakolo, Timis Dakolo's wife. I think this issue should be properly investigated. Well, for a long time, I haven't heard anything about the issue until now, when I saw this, and I think I should talk about this. This issue has been going up for over 1 month now, and I think it is gradually, I think so, I don't know. I think it is gradually dying down, but I think it should be investigated properly, because I'm not a human rights activist, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not into law, I don't know much about the law. I only know the little ones I know about the law that are guiding me, because I don't want to get into any trouble. But I'm a medical professional. At a point in time, I work as a medical professional, and I have actually seen 1, 2, or more rape victims, because when it happens, especially if they are minors, at the end of the day, they have to bring them to the hospital apart from seeing a therapist or something, they have to bring them to the hospital, to see the doctor, to know if there's any damage and all this stuff, to get treatment, and they feel relaxed and all this stuff. And I know how it feels to be raped, because I've talked to one of them, talk to them. It is not easy to come over this rape thing, especially if it happens in a world where, as a lady, when things like this happen to you, you receive 99.9% of the blame, forgetting that this is a criminal offense under the law, and the person who has raped you is supposed to be receiving 100% of the blame. But you as a lady, you are the one receiving 99.9% of the blame. That is the problem we are facing in Africa. That is the number one problem as a lady. And number two thing that's going to be running through your mind is the stigma. Imagine yourself living in a face me, I slap you house of 12 rooms. Or imagine yourself living in a face me, I slap you, face me, I face you, face me, I scatter you, face me, I woz you house. That is a 2-story building, one building under, one on top, and there are 12 rooms, down, 6 at the right hand, 6 at the left hand, 6 at the right hand on top, 6 at the left hand on top. And imagine how many families living in those houses, children and all this stuff, and you are living there and you are being raped. And all these people get to know about it. The next thing you're going to be hearing is, Mama Kemi, didn't you hear? That girl living in our compound, didn't you know what happened to her? Mama Kemi will also go and tell Mama Titi, hey, I heard something today. Something happened. You don't know that girl. That young girl now that used to wear trousers or wear miniskirt and walk up and down, or that one that used to wear gown and behave like a deeper life girl. They raped her. That is the number 2 thing that's going to be coming to your head. People aren't going to just know about this and, encourage you to come over it, stand for you, to fight for, fight for you, people aren't going to do this. What they're going to be doing is, spreading the own news up and down, and you're going to have that kind of fear in your heart, wow. So when I say this, who's going to marry me? Who's going to talk to me? Especially when you are of that age and you have a boyfriend at 17, sometimes, most time, not even sometimes, some girls have, their so-called boyfriend or something, and you are being raped. You have that fear, what will happen to me? What's going to happen to my relationship and all those stuff? This is things that you're going to be thinking about that will make you not want to talk about this. I remember the girl of 13 years that was raped, and she was brought to our hospital to check her if it was actually true, because there was really no sign of blood and all those stuff. And the guy was almost denying the issue. The sister, this actually happened in a face me, I slap you house, like what I explained the other time. You know, this happened when everybody had gone to school, and this girl, I don't know why she didn't go to school, because I usually see her when I go to work in the morning. When I go to the hospital, I see her, you know, children going to school, and I, you know, pass by them. We used to talk, greet, and all this stuff. So I didn't know why she didn't go to school on this particular day. It could be anything, health issues, school fees, anything can happen in Nigeria. And the sister actually sent her home from the shop to go get some things in the house. And this boy used that as an advantage. Nobody was in the house. Everybody have gone to their place of work and all this stuff. And he raped this girl. And this girl didn't say anything. Out of fear, she didn't say anything. And when she went back to the sister was like, you know, taking note of her. And after some hours, she was like, no, this is not you. What is happening to you? She, you know, with fear, you know, threatening the girl, like, what happened? Why are you walking like this? Did anybody touch you? Before she now confessed that, yes, this is what happened. So and so person, you know, touch her, sleep with her, blah, blah, blah. And the first thing the lady did was, you know, just to bring her to the hospital. She haven't even heard from the guy. The guy didn't even know anything happened. Because this is our niece. And, you know, if it's to be your daughter too, you're going to do the same thing. And she don't want people to say, wow, she wasn't taking care of the girl enough and all this stuff. She brought her to the hospital, and we actually confirmed it that she was penetrated. So she wasn't really admitted, but she had to stay in the hospital for some hours, you know, to make her relax and all this stuff. And the sister was just shouting, ranting, the aunt, I mean to say, you know, she was just ranting, blah, blah, blah. You are a useless girl. You are a girl of 13. Hey, you should not open your leg for him. Why will he sleep with you? Blah, blah, blah. Only God knows. You know, she was just ranting instead of her to take this issue serious. And the doctor had to call her to order and say, this is a 13-year-old girl. And this is a rape case. She said he forcefully slept with her. It is not something of her will or something. What you should be doing now is looking for how to see this guy, to confirm the issue, involve the police if it's really true and all those stuff. And when they called the guy wanted to like deny it. Then the doctor was like, confirmed. Yes, it is true, you penetrated. And this girl is just so young for you to even say, maybe we agreed to have sex. No, there should be something funny about the whole thing, you know. And he actually confessed that, okay, he raped her, he's going to pay the bill, they shouldn't call the police, they shouldn't do this, they shouldn't do that. Then this guy was 24 at that point in time. It involved his mom and the family members. It didn't, you know, turn to a very big saga. And at the end of the day, the woman was like, no, she's not going to accept this. She arrested the boy, but later on, you know, they started begging, let's do this. Yoruba will call it okuoru. Let's do this within ourselves, you know, let people know about it. We will settle the whole issue. But at the end of the day, people get to know about this. People get to know about it. And I noticed one thing in this little girl. Anytime I walk past her, maybe you are coming, or anybody that works in the hospital, anytime you are, you know, maybe I close for the day, I'm going home, I'm coming in the morning, and I just, you know, bump into this girl. She wasn't as free as she used to be with us anymore. Because I think so. I read this in her. She feels so sad. She feels unhappy. She feels like, okay, everybody will now start looking at her that this big brother, you know, this big guy have penetrated into her and all those stuff. I don't want to use any language that's going to make my video, you know, become spam or something. You know, I don't want anything of such, you know. You know, she feels so bad. She feels that guilt in her. She feels so unhappy. And at the end of the day, I had to speak to the doctor because the woman is not even ready to maybe take her to a therapist or talk to her. She doesn't even care. The best she can do is what she has done, bring her to the hospital, collect treatment and all those stuff. And she's not even bothered about it. You know, I had to tell the doctor these people are our patients. Apart from this rape issue that happened, you know, they have been our patient. Like, call this lady, you know, let her bring. Now, the doctor now turned to a therapist. I tell you, my doctor is a female, you know. Let her bring this girl at least, you know, once in a week, or tell the girl to come once in a week, you know, try to talk to her, make her feel comfortable again, build her confidence again. Because this girl became more scared that she doesn't even want to have anything to do with anybody who is a male. Even the sister's husband, she is scared of him. Do you know what I mean? So these are things that happen that make people who are being raped not to want to talk, especially when you are of that age that Busola was. You know, for this girl, she's young. When you threaten her, she's going to speak that this is what happened to me because the sister noticed it. Maybe if it was after 2-3 days that maybe the sister wasn't at home, or maybe the sister, you know, went to work and she went to school and came back and this thing happened over the night and in the morning, the sister might not notice any changes in her, and she might never talk about this to anybody. So these are things that usually come up that make rape victims not want to talk. Especially when you are up to the age, they will say you are a prostitute. You were the one that opened your leg for him. You were the one that went to visit him. You were the one that went to do this. Okay, can't I go and visit somebody in peace again? Or can't just two opposite sex stand and talk without, anything happening? But as a lady, you will just be the one carrying all the blame. And whenever you do anything, maybe you went to visit your friend or you went to school, you came back a little bit late, they will just start referring to the past incidents. I mean, parents, this is what they do. So that is why most people are not bold enough to come up. Like, Busola is so, I praise her a lot for her to have the courage to come up to talk. Like, there are still some things I want you guys to watch. As I said the other time, I'm still going to be dropping the link of the full interview if you still want to go watch it. But I still want us I want you guys to still hear some things, Let's get into that.
The case at hand. A young woman, several years after, comes out and says, my pastor did this to me. Now she goes to make it public because it's something that is not easy to do. People castigate her, people say all kinds of things about her, but we haven't heard anything from the Christian fathers or from even the person who is the accused in this case. What do you think about that?
That is horrible. That is totally unacceptable. And I personally, I am disappointed that people who are maybe nominal Christians or not Christians at all are making so much noise about this, whereas the Christian body is so silent. We're as silent as a graveyard.
They're probably investigating.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they are investigating, but I believe that
this is a stand.
Exactly. There has to be a stand. That, this is an issue that cannot be swept under the rug. It can be swept under the carpet. We can't pretend as if it didn't happen. We can't pretend as if we're deaf, we're not hearing, or we're blind, we're not seeing. That does not glorify God in our lives. Have you reached out to Pastor Busola yourself? Because you know him, you say. Have you reached out to Busola yourself? Because you know them. Yeah. You see, concerning Busola, what happened was in 2011, a young lady joined this ministry. Her name is Fumi Ayeni. And she joined during our formal inauguration ceremony at Kwara Hotels. She filled a membership form and she became a formal member of this ministry. And somehow she really, truly gravitated towards me as a mother. We became quite close. And, she used to talk with me and everything. And, we were, when you run a ministry like this, you are not close to everybody.
That's right.
But she is a daughter in whom I'm well pleased. All my daughters are daughters in whom I'm well pleased, but in the sense that she has consistently been very close to me. She has shared deep things with me, even about her life personally and everything. So one day in 2011, Fumi walks into my office here and she's actually very agitated. She said she's, everything about her was, ruffled. So she sat down and then she said, Mommy, it's not about me. It's about my sister.
Older or younger?
She said, my younger sister. So I said, what is it about your younger sister? She said, my younger sister has been facing deep psychological challenges since something happened to her years ago. So I said, what kind of psychological challenges? Is it spiritual, psychological, or what? She said, my sister was raped by a pastor. So when she said that, so many emotions ran through me because, number one, I'm a mother. Number two, I'm a pastor, and I was speechless. So I said, your sister was raped by a pastor? She said, yes. She said, and since then, her life has not remained the same.
Did you ask who the pastor is or was?
Yes. And she said, I asked who the pastor was. She was a bit hesitant, I think, because she didn't, I mean, I don't know what, you know, it's just difficult.
They thought you were on his side?
she didn't even know. No, she didn't even know I knew Pastor Biodun. She didn't know I knew Pastor Biodun. And she said to me, Biodun Fatoimbo.
At this time, he was no longer in Ilorin?
No, he was no longer in Ilorin, and I hadn't heard from him in years. You know, I actually didn't even know where he was, to be quite honest, at that time. I'll tell you how I knew where he was. I actually didn't know where he was. I didn't know. You know, when she said, Pastor Biodun Fatoimbo, one of the things that goes through your mind at this time is, what could have possessed a man of God to do this? And then also in your mind, you're thinking, maybe this is a devil thing, you understand? And
you didn't
thinking,
doubt her?
No, to be quite honest, to connect all those things was a bit difficult for me at that point. It wasn't something I was expecting to hear. It wasn't something I had been faced with prior to that, and there was just so much going in me. So anyway, I didn't say much. I said, Pastor Biodun Fatoimbo. Then she said, Mommy, the reason why I have come is because I want you to speak to my sister. I think that you canceling her would help her because you're a mother figure, and I want you to talk to her. She said because she is
distraught.
She's distraught. She has gone through terrible personality changes.
Wow.
She said Busola was the best in our home, in our family, in terms of her commitment to God. We were all looking up to her, and she said she felt very responsible because they made her go
where?
To the church. They made her start to attend, to attend the program and the church. She didn't want to go, and this thing has happened and everything. So I said, for me, God is in control, or something to that effect. I can't really, I too, at this point, was going through a lot of emotions. Number one, I knew Biodun. I couldn't really marry the Biodun I knew to
what you're hearing.
What I'm hearing. So I had to process all that. Eventually, at some point, she now called Busola. And even on the phone, I knew I was speaking to a troubled soul.
So even on the phone,
yes,
you could tell that she was troubled.
Oh, she was troubled. She was truly
8 years
troubled.
Ago.
Yes, she was truly troubled.
What troubled her? What was her?
Yes, it was like, why would this happen to me? One, and what have I done to deserve this? And this is just too much for me to handle. Anytime I try to get away from it, it catches up with me. I don't know how to get my life back. That is the summary of everything, And she was not happy about herself. She was not happy about where she was or where she had to go through.
Was she married then?
She was not married then. It was part of her saga was getting into a relationship. She wanted the relationship, at the same time, she didn't want the relationship because of her past. She was going through, it was like a really Mr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde character thing. You know, it's like mood swings, you know, personality, total personality change from the perspective of the victim. Yes.
Yeah, we're still gonna, this speaks to the typical psychology of a rape victim.
Oh yes, I've handled quite a few rape victims. I've handled quite a few rape victims, and I must say that at least 3 of those that I handled, among the many that I handled, actually alleged, you know, because I don't know, they were not willing to come out, you know, but they alleged that it was this same pastor, you know, but, you know, there's no way to prove it, because if they're not willing to actually come out and confront the pastor, which is one of the deep pains that I have personally, because I see all these broken victims and they're not willing to confront the people they're alleging have raped them. They're, for 3 reasons. Number one, some of them feel, all of them feel stigmatized, traumatized, abused, and they feel a guilt of some sort, that if I come out, then people know I've been raped, and it's like a stigma. Some of them, once it's a man of God, because I handled others that it's not this same man of God, but
another man of God,
that they say it's a man of God, that they allege it was a man of God that did this to them, you know. And, you know, for 3 reasons, they don't want to come out. Some of them are married now. They never told their husbands, and they're not ready for that upheaval because they don't know how their husbands will receive it. They don't want their family in the media and things like that. They're not ready for all that controversy. Some of them are not married, and because they're not married, they feel, who will marry me if I come back, if I come out now and I say I was raped? Then some of them who had experiences with men of God feel that it is, they will be, they're petrified of touching the Lord's anointed, in quotes.
You're a pastor.
And it's like a stigma. Some of them, once it's a man of God, because I handled others that it's not this same man of God, but
another man of God,
that they say it's a man of God, that they allege it was a man of God that did this to them, you know. And, you know, for 3 reasons, they don't want to come out. Some of them are married now. They never told their husbands, and they're not ready for that upheaval because they don't know how their husbands will receive it. They don't want their family in the media and things like that. They're not ready for all that controversy. Some of them are not married, and because they're not married, they feel, who will marry me if I come back, if I come out now and I say I was raped? Then some of them who had experiences with men of God feel that it is, they will be, they're petrified of touching the Lord's anointed, in quotes.
You're a pastor.
So guys, have you guys heard what she have to say about the whole issue? I think that's literally what she knows about the whole issue, or what she really want to talk to us about. I'm just using this medium and this opportunity to let you know, or just to talk to you, if you know anybody who has been raped before, or you have been raped before, you know, this is just like an encouragement, you know, please don't let this weigh you down. Speak out if you think you want to talk about it. And if you don't want to talk about it, just try to, you know, come over this. Because I know this is something that has actually been happening to people, but they don't want to talk about it because of things like this. Like, they don't want to draw their family member into saga and all those stuff. And especially if it is a man of God, there's this thing, this tag that, oh, is a man of God, touch my, not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. Let the anointed too, let them, you know, maintain the grace that they have. Because there's something that Busola Damascus said in one of our videos that I watch on Facebook, when she was saying something about pastors, you know, coming to you to say, let's, you know, collide together, let's do these immorality things. And they will be like, my grace will cover you. When I heard that word, it bring up some old things that I have let go within me. I remember when a man of God came to me. This is somebody that is really close to me and his wife is close to me. I don't want to go deep into that because this is something that can actually cause another saga for them, really, not for me anyway, because I don't want any broken home. And you see, that's part of what we are talking about. And you know, you, because of one reason or the other, you don't want to talk about it. And maybe later when you decide that no, I don't want to bear this again, I want to talk about this, then you will be the bad person. Why didn't you say it before? Why are you just saying it now? You can see that's part of what we're talking about. I don't want to say this because he actually didn't rape me, didn't sleep with me, but he only, you know, came to me and be like, you know, let's be together now. And I was like, daddy, what about mommy? What about your wife? He said, oh, mommy is not a problem. Don't worry. I will take care of you. This is my own life story that I'm talking about, not somebody say or somebody say. And at the point in time, I was like, but you're a pastor, sir. He said, that doesn't mean anything. Don't worry. My grace will cover you. I really didn't remember about all these things until when Busola issue happened, because I just decided to let the past go. I don't want to have, you know, some kind of pressure and some kind of wounded heart. And because of this, maybe I'll have a change of personality and maybe start thinking, you know, about some things that will start affecting me as a person, you know. So I just decided to like let the whole thing die down and all this stuff. And, you know, I remembered when I watched Busola Damascus video that this man actually walked up to me. He should be in his late 40s then. As of now, he would be in his, you know, yeah, he should be in his early 40s then. As of now, he would be in his late 40s or even maybe 50. I really don't know his age. But as of then, because I know his wife's age. His wife is someone really close to me. So I'm just trying to figure out some things, you know, came to me and tell me, don't worry, my grace will cover you. So there shouldn't be anything like touch not my anointed, do my prophet no harm. Let them maintain their anointing. Let them stay in their lane. And things like this will not come up. Because this is not the first time this kind of allegation is coming over Pastor Biodu Fatoyinbu. You understand? So let justice just take place. Let them just investigate this whole thing. The problem is the church is like the body of Christ itself is silent. People that know about these things, they don't want to come up to talk about. I just pray everything, you know, work on fine. I pray the truth is revealed. Let's actually know the truth. But this is all I have for you for now. I'm going to see you guys in my next one. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please click that subscribe button because there are more and more videos coming up to you guys. So click on it and also activate the bell so you'll be notified anytime I upload a new video. I will see you guys in my next one. Ciao. So guys, have you guys heard